Hi everyone, welcome back again to our next episode of suspension maintenance. So we're going to show you a little bit how important it is to service your suspension. It's really important, and a lot of times we forget about our suspension and worry about the engine. But let me show you a few points. I'll start with the forks itself. So the first thing that I want to show you is the little tool, fork saver we call it. It's available from any dealer, but the reason why I want to show you this is because of the dirt, the build-up of dirt inside the seals. And of course, if you don't take that out, that will cause eventually a leak. And then that's really bad because we don't want any leaks from any suspension. So just a quick show you how to use this. That just goes on there and you push it in and you scrape all the dirt out from the seal. This seal here is your dust seal, and then there's a wheel seal as well. So if I move on to this side, you can clearly see where your dust seal sits and then where the wheel seal is. But the idea from this tool is just to get all the dirt out, to scrape all the dirt out and just to lubricate your seal again for smooth suspension operation. So let's move on to the forks. I'll show you why it's so important to service your fork as well. If I take this, this is internal from a shock. You can see there's a piston. There's a seal body here, and it's the same as the front suspension. There's like a dust cover or a dust seal, and then the axle seal on the inside. So it's also really important to clean this. There's a bump rubber on the bottom. A lot of times it's getting dirt built up here, so you can actually move it up and you can get all the dirt out. You can clean it yourself, the customer can do it, but once you due for a service, then for sure you need to take it to your authorized dealer. They can do a new seal for you, they can replace the wheel for you, but I'll show you now on the vacuum pump how that is so important to get all that wheel out. Then if we talk about maintenance, if you enduro rider on the off-road side, it's definitely important to do a maintenance on your suspension at least once a year, and then on a road bike, it depends on your riding conditions, that's basically every second year. Then you need to look at doing a proper maintenance service on your suspension. So we thought it would be a cool idea to show you guys actually what does the clickers do when you do your adjustment on your suspension, on your shock, or even on your forks, for example. But we want to show you what happens when you do your adjustment on your settings. I'll start with the rebound setting first, the one from the bottom of the shock. So the rebound sits at the bottom, and on the top you adjust your compression setting. But let's look at the rebound settings. So you can adjust it, and there's a certain amount of clickers. So you can feel it gives like a little click, and that amount of clickers is obviously in your owner's manual. It will show you what your maximum and your minimum setting. Every shock is different, but you can do your adjustment like that. And what you actually do here is that when you adjust it, there's a needle in the inside that you push up or down. And the purpose of that is that there's a hole here and there's a hole on the top. It's closing the gap so that the oil can't flow freely or easily through the system when the shock is moving up and down. So it's basically bypassed the shims a little bit. So by closing it, if you take your clickers all the way in, you're closing the hole so the oil's getting forced through the shims or through the shim stack only. So when this is moving, when it's in the bike and it's going up, that's my compression setting. When it's going down, that's my rebound setting. There's little shims here, so the piston here is open, so when it goes down, the oil is getting forced in there, and it has to go through the shims and actually pushing the shims open to go through it. And then when in the opposite direction, the same thing happens again. There's holes, it has to go through there, and it will push the shims and it will push it open. And as I mentioned, the purpose of the clickers is to close it, to make it actually harder for the oil to go through the shim stack. But let me show you with the needle itself. If I take the needle and I push it back into the shaft, you can see that's basically what you're doing, is that with your clickers, if I turn the clickers in, I'm moving the needle up and it's closing the hole here. I call it my bypass. So there's my bypass hole here and right on the top. So it's closing the hole completely. My piston with the shim stack sits here, so the oil must go through the shim stack. If I open it, then of course the oil is like electricity. It wants to go the shortest route or the easy route, then it will go through the bypass hole as well. And that's my rebound setting. Then if I move on, I will show you the compression settings. So this sits on the top, on the shock body. So if I remove it to show you easily, I can show you how it works. I just need to get my screwdriver. The clickers, once again here, it's the same thing here. There's my clickers. So I've got my low speed setting, I've got my high speed setting. Let's open it. So once I've got this open, same principle. If you close the clickers here, there's a shim stack, there's a bypass hole, and it goes through there. So as I close it, then it will can only go through the shim stack. If I open it, it will bypass and it will move freely. Makes it easier. And then that's my low speed setting. If I take it my high speed setting, that goes in there. There's a spring in the inside here. As I close the nut, the pressure goes onto the spring puts the pressure onto the shims, and it makes it harder for the oil to flow through. So if I put it all back together, just to show you, if I put that back in there, that goes back in here. So if I take my rebound setting, what do I adjust? How fast it's moving out. So if I press it back in again, if I close that, it will come out slowly. So the rebound setting is really slow. If I adjust my compression setting and I close it, then of course it's going to put more pressure and it's going to be hard to push it in, and that's my compression setting. So let's move on to the pump itself. We thought it's also really important to show you guys why it's so important to take your bike for a service on your suspension at an authorized dealer, and the reason for that is because they need the correct equipment to do the service on your suspension. One of the most important part is the vacuum pump. It's this little pump here, and the purpose of this pump is to take all the oil out of the system, out of the shock when you do the pump service, and it actually takes all the air out of the system. The air in the system is really bad. If you don't take it or don't do it properly and there's still air stuck in the system, it will actually cause really bad damage to your piston. And if there's air, we call it cavitation, it will start to cavitate and actually burns your piston away. So please make sure that you use an authorized dealer to service your suspension. But I'll show you how the pump operates. We'll do that now for you. I'm going to start a cycle here. I'll show you what it actually do, but the purpose of this machine is to pull all the oil out, get rid of all the air in the system, and it's going to pump it full of shock oil again. So there's a tank inside the pump, so the oil will obviously go to the tank. It's going to remove the air, and once it's finished with that, it's going to pump the shock full of oil again, which is this cycle now. There you go. So it's pumping it full of oil. It actually takes it up to 3 bars. If there's any leak or any problem like that, let's say within the shock itself, the machine will actually stop and it will tell us there's a problem with the shock. But it's full of oil, it's keeping it there, and then it will start to pull a vacuum again and remove it. We'll do 3 cycles like that, and then your shock is fully filled with oil. Then the next step after this will be to pump it up with nitrogen. So there's a certain bar that the technician must put into this system, and that's just to put on this side here on a canister will be your nitrogen. Pump it up with nitrogen, and the main reason for that is basically it's running cooler, and then it's just better for the shock itself. Okay, it's nearly done. It's pumping it up for the last cycle now. So the shock is back full of oil. All the air's been removed from the system. So the only step that's still left is to pump it up with nitrogen. So once it's fully pumped with nitrogen, it's ready to go. You can put it back in your bike for the next 12 months. On an off-road bike and then on a road bike, just remember, please, it's really important, speak to your dealer. They will have the service schedules for you, but on a road bike, it's every 2 years. Thank you so much for watching this.